What are their plans for this weekend, their third preseason game against the Giants?
Look, I think that the starting quarterback competition right now comes down to Sam Darnold and Teddy Bridgewater. And I think there's a real feeling in the organization that Sam Darnold has been the guy that they've wanted to win this job and the guy that's been impressive. Now, Teddy Bridgewater's gone out there in the preseason and also looked very strong when he's been out there. But Darnold's poise, leadership, talent, all has impressed the Jets as much and even more than they hoped at this point in time. And the thing that the Jets say about Darnold is that he gets better every day of practice, which I know is something that you like to hear, Greeny, that he shows constant improvement, he's coachable, he takes in what he's hearing, learns from it, grows from it, and gets better all the time. Again, I think Darnold is the guy to beat out for this job right now, but Teddy Bridgewater's certainly vying for him, and Teddy Bridgewater's had an impressive camp so far.
He has. Bridgewater has been terrific, but there isn't any question that the future is Darnold. So what would that mean then for Bridgewater, who is a guy who they got very inexpensively, and I think there'd be teams out there that would be interested in him. There's continuous conversation about the possibility of a trade. Do you expect that?
I think there's more conversation in the media about Teddy Bridgewater being traded than there is amongst the Jets and other teams. That's not to say that the Jets haven't spoken to other teams, and the Jets would love to be able to get something back for Teddy Bridgewater. But you have to figure, what would some team be willing to give up realistically to go get Teddy Bridgewater? Would they go trade a third-round pick for a guy that's in the last year of his contract? I don't know that there's a team in a desperate enough spot today without an injury that would be willing to trade a high pick like that to go get Teddy Bridgewater. There are teams out there that would like him, of course. He's been a really good quarterback, and a lot of people think that he would upgrade their roster. The question is, what would the Jets be willing to take? What would another team be willing to surrender? And I don't think that either side is close to a point yet there where you think a trade would happen. That could change here in the next couple of weeks, but they haven't gotten close to getting what they would want and what they'd be willing to deal him for, especially considering that he's still vying for their starting quarterback job.
Yeah, he could either be the starter for the team for week one, or he could wind up being traded out of there at some point. So that shows you where they are right now. And then one more thing I wanted to get from you here, and that's Adrian Peterson. Josina says he's going to sign the one-year deal in Washington, and I could just hear people getting set for their fantasy drafts wondering aloud, is this someone that I should be considering? What do you think? What's the answer to those people? How big a role does he play this year?
Well, I guess my first question would be, Greeny, is it a PPR league, point per reception? Because if it is, then Adrian Peterson gets a downgrade. If not, and it's standard scoring, then Adrian Peterson is somebody that you might look at. Look, I think he's going to have something of a role there in Washington on first, second, rundowns. But again, his numbers have been such that they have not been overly impressive. I think that the Redskins will be able to get something out of him. But the fact is they needed another running back in there. They know that they needed to complement guys like Chris Thompson and Rob Kelly and guys who could play right now. And so they brought in Peterson, whose numbers have been average the last few years. But Adrian Peterson has been determined to prove that he's still got football left. He's back on the field where he once tore up his knee and defied all odds. You would never bet against Adrian Peterson, but he is 33. He has not had great yards per average carry numbers in recent seasons, but I do think that he'll be able to help this Redskins team out going forward.
The Adam Schefter podcast is available now on the ESPN app and Apple Podcasts. We'll see you later. Thank you, Schefter.
Thank you, Greeny.